أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome everybody to today's class. Jazakumullah for your early arrival. I hope that you have all done wudu and you're all ready for the class. So in today's lesson, we're going to continue with the rules of waqf that you did on Thursday and Friday last week. And we're going to continue with the same exercise, 21.1, which is page 87. So we're going to start our today's class with the opening prayer. So, Assalamu alaikum, Esti.
Walaikum salam.
How are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah.
Can I have a student on mic, please, to read the opening prayer for me, please?
Yes, our first student is A5307.
A5307, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you?
Good.
Alhamdulillah, that's good. So, can you please recite this opening prayer for me, please?
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri.
Well done, very well read. Can you read the translation for me as well, please?
Lord, expand my mind and make my task easy for me. Taha 26-27.
Jazakumullah, very well read. And Jazakumullah for your help and participation. And until next time, Allah Hafiz. All right, so we're going to start our today's lesson, and we're going to continue with the lesson you did last week on Thursday and Friday, which is Rules of Waqf, lesson 21. So Waqf means to stop or pause. So Waqf means to stop or pause. That is whenever you're reciting the Holy Quran, whenever you take a pause, that is known as waqf. And during the recitation, pausing at the end of a meaningful sentence or a verse with a break of breath is called waqf. That is, at that point is whenever you stop at any word, you take a break of breath. That is that you take a small breath so that you don't obviously go out of breath while reciting the Holy Quran. That short break is known as waqf. And we're going to do some more rules of waqf. That is when you are stopping at different sort of words, in what manner you should stop. So you have already done from rule 1 to 13, but I'm just going to do a quick revision for that, just a very quick go through, just to remind you what it was. So the first rule 1, 2, and 3, first, second, third, these three rules are quite similar. This is whenever you're stopping at a word and the last letter of that word carries a basic or a simple fatha, kasra, or a dhamma stroke, you completely ignore those strokes or you change those strokes into a sukoon. So for the first three rules, if you have a basic kasra, dhamma, or fatha on top of the last letter of the word you're stopping at, you change that fatha, kasra, or dhamma to a simple stroke. For example, it's written over here. So you have a simple fatha on top of letter kaf over here. So if you're not stopping, you will read it as zalika. But when you're stopping, you'll change this fatha to sukoon and you'll read it as zalik. Similarly, with the simple kasra, yawmi, but when you're taking a pause or when you're doing waqf, you change this kasra to sukoon, yawm. Similarly, with dhamma, na'budu, you change dhamma to sukoon when you're stopping, na'bud. All right. So fourth rule is when you have kasraten, that is tanween, at the top, below the last letter of the word you're stopping at, and instead of reading it as tanween, you change the tanween to a sukoon, as it is shown over here in the red. So if there was tanween and you were not stopping, you would read it as maktumin, but since you're stopping, you would change that tanween to simple sukoon, maktum. With the rule 5, it's similar to the rule 4. sorry, excuse me. So when you have dammaten, that is damma tanween on top of the last letter of the word you're stopping at. If you don't stop, you make the tanween sound, Qur'anun. But when you're stopping, you change this tanween to sukoon. Qur'an. That is how you stop when you have dammaten. Let's move on to rule 6. This is when you have a vertical kasra below the last letter of the word you're stopping at. And if you have a vertical kasra below the letter, you completely ignore that vertical kasra and you change it to a sukoon, as it is shown over here. So if you were not stopping, you would read it as rasulihi. But if you were stopping, you would ignore this vertical kasra. You will take it as if there's a sukoon present on top of ha, and you will read it as rasulih. Rule number 7 is when you have ha with a word or any letter with a vertical dhamma. So it's the similar rule to rule 6. You completely ignore that vertical dhamma and you change it to a sukoon. So if you were not stopping, you would read it as yarahu. But when you're stopping, you will change the vertical dhamma to a sukoon, yarah. Next rule is when you have dhammaten on top of a letter. It's similar to rule 5 over here. So over here, what we did was there was dhammaten and we changed it to sukoon. It's similar to over here, but when this dhammaten is present on ta marbuta, this ta, the round ta, whenever dhammaten is present on this ta, the ta marbuta as you call it, then again you change the dhammaten to a sukoon. So if you were not stopping, you would read it as musfiratun, but when you're stopping, you change dhammaten to a sukoon, musfirah. Next rule is rule number 9. I'm doing it a bit fast because you have already done it in the lessons on a Thursday and Friday, so that's why I'm going a bit quickly. I'll take it slowly when I move on to the new rules. So rule number 9 is when you have fathaten, that is a fatha tanween. When you have that, what you do is fatha with alif will be pronounced in place of tanween. So instead of reading it as tanween, if we were not stopping, we would read it as abwaban. But because we are stopping, so we will ignore the tanween. We will take only one fatha stroke and we will read it as if there was a haruf madda, abwaba, just as it's shown over here. So instead of reading it as a tanween, when we are stopping only, instead of reading it as a tanween, we just take one fatha stroke with alif and we make it haruf madda and we read it 2 seconds. Abwaba. The next rule is rule number 10. This is, in this rule, there will not be any change. So that means that whenever you have a vertical fatha stroke on top of a letter, the sound does not really change. So when you're reading it without stopping, you would read it as yas'a. And if you were reading it as, and if you were going to read it when you were going to take a pause or when you were going to waqf over here after this word, you're not going to change the sound. It's going to remain the same and you're going to prolong it for 2 seconds. The sound is going to be the same. So when you were not stopping, you will read it as yas'a. And if you were stopping, it would still remain as yas'a. So if you have a vertical fatha at the top of the last letter of the word you're taking a pause after, the sound will not change. Rule number 11 is when you have a vertical kasra below the last letter of the word you're taking a pause after. So again, in this rule, the sound will not change. There will be no change and you will again prolong it for the same time as you do it. So if you were not stopping, it will remain as, it will be as yuhji. And if you were stopping, it will remain the same. Yuhji. So there will be no change. So let's move on to the next one. It's rule number 12. So over here, again, there will be no change. It is similar to the rule number 9. So when you have tanween, you ignore tanween and then you take one fatha stroke with alif and read it as huruf madda. So in this case, you make it, you change it to this form where there's no tanween, there's just one fatha with alif. So you read it in that manner. Over here, when you already have just one fatha stroke followed by an alif, this is already haruf madda, so you don't really make any change, and you just read it as haruf madda, and you're going to prolong the sound to 2 seconds because that is what you do for haruf madda. So if you were not going to stop, you would read it as rafa'na, and if you were stopping, you would still keep it the same. Rafa'na. This is rule number 13, the last rule that you stopped at on Friday. So this is where you have a fatha stroke on top of lam, letter lam over here. So if you have a simple fatha stroke, over here in this word, what you will do is this fatha stroke, because there is another letter, and because there's another letter, and the sound that this word makes is an alif sound, what you do is the fatha over here changes to the vertical fatha, and you prolong the sound for 2 seconds, just as you do for the rule of vertical fatha. So this, if you're stopping in a word of this manner, whenever you have a fatha stroke at the second last letter, there's probably going to be ya after it. So whenever you have a fatha on top of this letter, it will always change to a vertical fatha stroke, and you will prolong the sound for 2 seconds. So these are the 13 rules that you have done so far. We're going to carry on now to the new rules. So the rest of the rules. So next rule is rule number 14, and the rule is that dhamma will change into sukoon. So whenever you have a dhamma stroke at the top of the last letter of the word, you always change that dhamma stroke to sukoon. That is what we learned in the basic first, second, and third rule, that if you have a basic fatha, kasra, or dhamma stroke, you change it to sukoon. So that is exactly what we are doing. However, there is a tashdid or shadda present on top of noon as well. So there's this is noon mushaddad with a dhamma stroke. So what we will do is we will change the dhamma stroke to a sukoon, but we will make sure, you have learned this rule before, that whenever there is mim mushaddad or noon mushaddad present, we always press down on the sound and hold down the sound for 2 seconds. And we need to make sure that tashdid is manifested. That means that we do make the tashdid sound. We're not ignoring the tashdid over here. We're just changing this dhamma stroke to a sukoon. We're keeping the shadda over there. So we do need to make sure that when we are reading this noon sound with a sukoon, we still pronounce the shadda sound. So how we will read it is when if we were not stopping, we will read it as yazunnu. But if we were stopping, because there is no dhamma at the end, we will stop as yazun. We will carry on the shadda sound for 2 seconds, but because there is no dhamma at the end, we will not produce the nu sound. So when we were not stopping, we read it as yazunnu, but because there's no dhamma at the end, we will make the shadda sound, but there will be no dhamma sound. Yazun. So we will go on to the exercise and find out some examples for the rule. So over here, this is the similar example over here. So as we know that there is noon mushaddad present, and there is a fatha, basic fatha stroke on top of it. So we know what we're going to do is we're going to ignore or change the fatha stroke to a sukoon. So we're going to read it as if there is only sukoon present. So the day teacher, can I please have a student, please, to help me with the exercise?
Yes, sure. But before that, I can see some incorrect IDs. So if you could please rename yourself, otherwise I have to put you in the waiting room. Our first Nasra is N6346.
N6346.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum
I'm
assalam. How are you?
fine.
Good, alhamdulillah, that's good. So do you have any questions so far?
No.
All right, that's good. So we will do this example over here of this particular word. So as we know, we can see that there is noon shadda present, noon mushaddat present over here, and above it is a basic fatha stroke. So we have just read in the rule number 14 that if you have noon mushaddat, but there is on the top of it is basic stroke, basic fatha kasra dhamma stroke, we change it to sukoon, but we do make sure that we make the mushaddat sound. So that's what we are going to do over here. So if we were reading it without stopping, we would read it as min hunna.
Minna.
Well done. But if we were to take a pause after this word and we were stopping after this word, we would ignore this fatha stroke or we would change it to a sukoon, but we will make sure that we do manifest the tashdid over here, or we do make the tashdid sound. That's very important. So that's what we are going to do now. Min hun.
Min hun.
Yes. See, if we were not stopping, we made the min hunna, the na sound at the end, if we were not stopping. But because we're stopping, we're not going to make the na sound because we're changing this fatha to a sukoon. Min hun.
Min hun.
Well done. Let's do another example. So, all right, the next example over here is this word over here. So again, we have noon mushaddad, but on top of it is a dammaten, which is a tanween. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to change, or we're going to ignore the dammaten, and we're going to change the dammaten to a sukoon, but we're still going to make the noon mushaddad sound. So if we were not going to stop, we would read it as jannun.
Jannun.
Well done. But if we were to stop, we would change the dammaten to a sukoon. Jan.
Jan.
Good. We still make the noon sound. We do prolong it for 2 seconds because that is the rule for noon mushaddad, that whenever you have a noon mushaddad, you make the hunna sound and you prolong it for 2 seconds. But because we are changing the dammaten at the end, we're not going to make that sound, the un sound at the end. So we just stop at jan.
Jan.
Well done. And because we're joining alif that has an elongated mad to the noon mushaddad, we're going to make that sound. Jan.
Jan.
Yes, we're prolonging the alif sound over here because it also has a mad on top of it. Jan.
Jan.
Good. Well done. Jazakumullah for your help and participation. And until next
Allah
time, Allah
Hafiz.
Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. All right, so this was the rule number 14. We're now going to move on to the next rule, which is rule number 15. This is whenever you have fathatain or tanween of fatha, this will change into a vertical fatha. That means that if you have a fathatain at the top of the letter, at the top of a mushaddad letter, what we're going to do is we're going to change this fathatain to a vertical fatha stroke. As you can see over here in the red, what's done is that if you were to read it without stopping, you would read it as musamman. But because you're stopping, you would change this fathatain to a vertical fatha, as you can see over here, and you would prolong the sound, or you will make the sound of a vertical fatha, and you will prolong it for 2 seconds. Musamma. That is what you do if you have a tanween on top of mushaddad letter, or if you have a fathatain or a fatha tanween at the top of the letter and you want to make a pause. So instead of reading it as musamman, instead of making the tanween sound, you will change it into a vertical fatha. Musamma. So we will now do some examples from the exercise. We'll do this particular word over here. So, ST, can I have a student, please?
Yes, sure. Our next student is A5349.
A5349, Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Alhamdulillah,
Oh.
that's good. So, have you understood everything so far? Do you have any questions?
I haven't got any questions, but I'm a little bit muddled up.
A little bit what?
I'm a little bit confused.
All right, that's fine. That's obviously it would be because it's a new lesson, but if you keep practicing at home, you will get better with it, and the more you get used to doing it, the more easier it will get for you. So don't worry about that. That's why we're taking a lot of time with this lesson, and we're taking it slowly and easily so that students are able to get it more. So don't worry about that. So we're going to do this particular word over here now for the example. So as we just did the rule is whenever you have mushaddad letter and there's a fathatain on top of it, you change it to a vertical fatha. So that's what we're going to do over here in this word. So over here we can see again there is mushaddad fa with a fathatain. So what we are going to do, so we're going to change the fathatain to a vertical fatha. So we're going to read it instead of as a fathatain, we're going to read the word as if there is vertical fatha present. So if we were not going to stop, we were going to read it as musaffan.
Musaffan.
Yes, but because we're going to stop, we're going to change the fathatain to a vertical fatha. But we are still going to make sure that we produce the mushaddad sound. Musaffa.
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 Well done. So what we did is we just completely changed the fatha then to vertical fatha, and because we know we prolonged the vertical fatha sound for 2 seconds, that is what we did. Musaffa.
Musaffa.
Well done. Let's do another example. So over here, so sorry about that. So as you can see that we have mim mushaddad over here, but again at the top is fathatain. So what we're going to do is we're going to ignore the vertical fatha. Oh, actually, let's just ignore this word over here. I'm just going to see if there's another example present for this particular rule. All right, so there doesn't seem to be any other example for this particular rule, but what happens is whenever you have a fathatain at the on a mushaddad letter and on the last letter of the word, and the letter is a mushaddad letter, and you have a fathatain, you just completely change it to a vertical fatha, and that is how you read it. So we're here, did it the rule. So if you were not going to stop, we would read it as musamman.
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 Good. And if there was and if we were going to stop, it would be read as musamma.
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 Well done. And all right. one more thing over here, as we can see in this word over here, we can also see that this is also a mushaddad letter. Qaf is a mushaddad letter, and again there is a simple fatha stroke. We're also going to read it as we're going to change, or we're going to read it as if there is an alif present after it, like as you can see in the way it is written below. Shows instead of reading the simple fatha stroke latulaqqa, we're going to take it as instead of ya there's an alif present, and we're going to make it haruf madda latulaqqa.
Latulaka.
Yes, this is what you do. So again, if you have a fatha, then you change it to vertical fatha, and in similar to this one, and in this manner, if you have a mushaddad letter and there is a fatha stroke, you take it as if there is an alif present after it, and you make it a haruf madda, and you prolong it for 2 seconds. Latulaqqa. All right, so yes, it is an example similar to rule number 13 that you've done before, that if you have a simple fatha, you change it to a vertical fatha stroke. So this is basically an example similar to that one. So you have a basic fatha, but again, this is a mushaddad letter. So that is what you're basically doing. You're changing the sound to a vertical fatha sound, or as if there's an alif present after it. Latulaqqa.
Latulaka.
Yes, this is only if you are taking a pause or you're doing waqf. All right, Jazakumullah for your help and participation. And until next time, Allah Hafiz.
Nafis.
Allah Hafiz. So we'll do the next one now. This is rule number 16, which is ma'dudatin. So if you were not stopping, you would read it as ma'dudatin. But if you were to take a pause after this word, this long ta and the tanween below this long ta will change into a sukoon, as you can see over here. So you will, instead of reading it as tin, you will just read it as da. So you will change this tanween kasratin, or tanween of kasra, into a sukoon. So whenever you're stopping at a word that is ending with the long ta, and there is kasraten below it, you change the kasraten to a sukoon. So if you were not stopping, you would read it as ma'dudatin. If you were to stop, you would change the kasraten to a sukoon. Ma'dudat. All right. So ST, can I have a student, please?
Yes, our next student is N6331.
N6331. Are you there?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. So have you understood everything so far?
Yes.
All right. So there aren't really any particular examples in the exercise for this rule, but we're just going to do this word over here. So whenever we have a kasraten or a tanween below or above this long ta, this particular ta, we just change that tanween into a sukoon. So we were not going to stop. We would read it as madudatin.
Madudatin, teacher.
Well done. G, yes.
Can I do it by myself?
Let's just for one time, just follow after me, and after that you can try it yourself, because there are other students who are a bit confused at the moment. So I would just like them to follow after me as well, please.
Okay.
Jazakumullah. So if we were not going to stop, we would read this tanween over here. Madudatin.
Madudatin.
Good. And if we were to take a pause, or if we were going to stop over here, we would change the kasratain or tanween, any tanween that is present, to a simple sukoon. Ma'dudat.
Madudat.
Yes, we're going to make sure that we do pronounce the ta, that the ta sound does come out, but because there is no stroke present on it, there is just sukoon. We're not going to produce any a, u, or e sound, but we are going to produce the ta. Madudat.
Madudat.
Good, well done. Jazakumullah for your help and participation. And until next time, Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. All right, so we're going to move on to the next rule. This is rule number 17. This is if you have a tanween of fatha on hamza. So this is the letter hamza, and you have fathatain or tanween of fatha. This fathatain will again change into a vertical fatha stroke, as you can see over here in the example. So or like alif madda, the sound will be similar to alif madda, similar to what we did in this example, changing the fathatain to vertical fatha, again changing fathatain to vertical fatha. So if we were not going to stop, we would read it as nisa'an. But if you're going to take a pause, we're going to change the fathatain to vertical fatha. Nisa'a. So we're going to read the hamza with a vertical fatha, and we know that you make the sound for vertical fatha for 2 seconds. Nisa'a. So this is the rule number 17. We're going to do some examples from the exercise. ST, can I have a student, please?
Yes, our next student is A5334.
A5334. Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. So have you understood everything so far?
Yes.
All right, that's good. So we're going to start from here. So in this word, what we do in this rule, what we do is if there is fathatain or tanween of fatha present on top of a hamza, we change the fathatain to a vertical fatha. So if we were not going to stop, we would read it as nisa'an.
Nisa'an.
Good. And if we were to take a pause, we would change it to a vertical fatha. Nisa'a.
Nisa'a.
Good. Let's move on to the exercise and find some examples from over there. So as you can see in this word over here, again, there is fathatain present on top of hamza. So we will change, if we were not going to stop, we would read it as ma'an.
Ma'an.
Good. And if we were going to take a pause, or we were going to do waqf, we would change the fathatain to a vertical fatha, as you can see over here, shown. So this is what's written in the Quran. But if we were to take a pause after this word, this is how we're going to read it. So we're going to change the fathatain to vertical fatha. So instead of reading as ma'an, we're going to read ma'a.
Ma'a.
So if we were not taking a pause, we would read ma'an.
Ma'an.
And if we were pausing, we would change fathatain to vertical fatha. Ma'a.
Ma'a.
Good. Another example would be over here. As you can see in this word over here, again, there's a hamza with a fathatain. So if we were not stopping, we would read nisa'an.
Nisa'an.
Good. And if we were to take a pause, or if we were to do waqf, we would read it as nisa'a.
Nisa'a.
Good. Again, another example over here, this word. So if we were not going to stop, we would read lu'an.
Lu'an.
So over here, Hamza has a sukoon, so we're going to do a jerking sound. Lu'an.
Lu'an.
Good. And if we were going to pause, we would change, we will ignore the vertical fatha, we will ignore the fatha then, and we will change it to vertical fatha. Lu'a.
Lu'a.
Good. Well done. And again over here, we can see that there is Hamza with a fatha 10. So if we were not stopping, we would read it as juz'an.
Juz'an.
Good. And if we were to take a pause, we would change the fatha 10 to vertical fatha. Juz'a.
Juz'a.
Well done. Very well read, mashallah. Jazakumullah for your help and participation. And until next time, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. All right, so we'll now move on to the next rule, which is rule number 18. This is when we have tanween of dhamma or kasra, that is dhammaten or kasraten. This is kasraten, and if you have tanween of dhamma, that is dhammaten. On the top or below the hamza, it will change into sakin. So the tanween of dhamma or tanween of kasra will change into sukoon. What we just did was, if we have a tanween of fatha, it will change it to vertical fatha. But if we have a tanween of kasra or tanween of dhamma, we will completely change it into a sukoon. For example, as you can see over here. So if we were not going to stop, we would have read it as ma'in. But because we're taking a pause or we're doing waqf, we're going to ignore this kasraten or tanween of kasra. We're going to change it into a sukoon, and we're going to read it as ma. We're going to make a jerking sound. That is what we do whenever we have a sukoon on top of a hamza. Ma. So, ST, can I have another student, please?
Yes, our next Nasra is N6334.
N6334, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Good.
Alhamdulillah, that's great. So have you understood everything so far? Do you have any questions?
I understood everything. I have no questions.
All right, that's great. So over here in the rule number 18, if we were not going to stop over here, we would make the tanween sound. Ma'in.
Ma'in.
Good. And if we have kasraten or dhammaten, that is the mean of kasra, the mean of dhamma, and we were to make a pause or waqf, we would change the tanween to a sukoon. Ma.
Ma.
Good, well done. Let's move on to the exercise and look at some examples. So over here we have yes, over here we can see that there's Hamza with a kasrat, and that is the mean of kasra. So we were not going to stop. We would read it as bisu'in. Bisu'in.
Usuin.
There's kasra below ba. Bisu'in.
Usuin.
Good. And if we were to make a pause or do waqf after this word, we would change the kasra ten or tanween of kasra to sukoon. Bisu.
Busu.
Good. We're going to make a jerking sound because there is a sukoon present on top of hamza. Bisu.
Busu.
Bisu.
Bisu.
We're going to elongate the or prolong the oo sound because there is mud present. Bisu.
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 Good. Again over here we have Hamza, and below it is a kasra or tanween of kasra. So again, if we were not going to stop, we would read it as shay'in.
Shay'in.
Good. But because we're stopping, we would change the kasratain into a sukoon. Shay.
Shay.
Good. We're going to make a little bit of jerking sound at the end. Shay.
Shay.
Good. Yes, let's do it one more time. Shay.
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 So make sure you do read this shay part. There is sheen with a fatha followed by ya with a sukoon. Shay.
Shay.
Yes, but because there is hamza after it and we're going to change the kasra then to a sukoon, we're going to make a jerking sound. Shay.
Shay.
Good. That is how you do it. So jazakumullah for your help and participation. And until next time, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. So we're going to move on to the next rule now, which is rule number 19. An-nabiyyu. In this rule, whenever there's a mushaddad letter with a stroke, it will be pronounced with a sukoon. So we'll change the stroke on top of it into a sukoon, but we're going to make sure that we still produce the tashdid sound. So if we were to read it without a pause, an-nabiyyu, but because we're pausing, we're going to make we're going to change the dhamma to sukoon. But in this particular example, what's happening is that there is kasra before it, followed by ya with a sukoon. This makes it a haruf madda. So we're going to read it as haruf madda. An-nabi. So, ST, can I have another student, please?
Yes, sure. Our next student is A5341.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Good.
Good, alhamdulillah. That's great. All right, so what we're going to do is, because there is a tajdeed present as well, so yes, because ya is a mushaddad letter, we will make the ya sound. An-nabij.
An-nabij.
Good. So we were not going to stop. We would read it as an-nabiju.
An-nabiju.
Good. And because there's a shadda present on top of ya, but we're changing the stroke to sukoon, we would read it as an-nabij.
An-nabij.
Good. So let's go to the exercise, and over here, so over here, if we were not going to stop, we would read it as durrijun.
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 Yes, and because ya has a shadda, so we're going to make sure that we do produce that shadda sound when we're reading it, when we're changing the tanween to a sukoon when we're pausing. Durrij.
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 Good. The next one over here, we have another example. So we have ya with ya mushaddad with a fatha. So when we're taking a pause, we're going to ignore the fatha and we're going to change it into sukoon. So if we were not pausing, we would read it as ladayja.
Ladayja.
Good. But because we're pausing, we would change the fatha to sukoon. Ladayj.
Ladayj.
Good. Well done. And another example over here. Again, we have ya mushaddad with a fatha on top of it. So if we were not pausing, we would read it as ya bunayja.
Nabidayja.
Ya bunayja.
Ya bunayja.
Good. And if we were pausing, we would change the fatha to a sukoon. Ya bunayj.
Ya bunayj.
Good. We do make the ya mushaddad sound. Ya bunayj.
Ya bunayj.
Good, well done. Jazakumullah for your help and participation. And until next time, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. So we're going to move on to the next rule now, which is rule number 20. So over here, if ya mutaharrik, that is, if there is letter ya present with a stroke, will be read with a sukoon. So if there's any stroke present on this ya, fatha, kasra, dhamma, you will change it to a sukoon. And it will not be read as the lean letter, that is o, I. The sound over here will not be read as I, because there is another letter we're going to, because ya will have a sukoon, so we're going to change the sound. So what we're going to do is, if you were not going to stop, we would read this word as masvaja, but because now we're going to take a pause, what we're going to do is we're going to change the fatha to sukoon, and in between there is haruf madda present, as we can see. Waw has a fatha followed by an alif, so we're going to prolong the sound for this one over here, and then there is ya with a sukoon. Masvaj. So we're going to still make sure that we do produce the ya sound. Masvaj. So this is how we're going to pause if we have a ya letter, simple ya with a basic stroke, fatha, kasra, dhamma. So ST, can I have another student, please?
Yes, N6347.
N6347, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm good.
Alhamdulillah, that's good. So do you have any questions so far?
No.
All right. So for this rule number 20, if we have a letter ya with a simple fatha, kasra, dhamma stroke, we change it into a sukoon. So over here we have masvaja, masvaja.
Masvaja.
And if we were to take a pause, we would change the fatha to a sukoon. Masvaj,
Masvaj.
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 Good. And we're going to do some examples from the exercise. So over here we have ya with a fatha. So we're going to change the fatha to a sukoon. So because there is dal present before that with a kasra, this will make it a haruf madda. So we'll prolong the sound for 2 seconds. Nudi.
Nudi.
Good. Another example would be over here. As we can see, another ya with a kasra stroke at the end. So if we were not stopping, we would read it as badiyaraji.
Badiraji.
So we're going to join ya with this ra mushaddat. Badiyara.
Badiraja.
Join ya with ra. Jar.
Ja.
Badijar.
Badijar.
Badijara.
Badijara.
Badijaraji.
Badiraji.
Badijar.
Badijar.
Raji.
Badiraji.
Badiyar.
Badiyaraji.
Raji. Good.
Raji.
Badiyaraji.
Badiraji.
Badiyar.
Badiyar.
Raji.
Badiraji.
Just break it into 2 parts. So the first part, Badiyar.
Badijar.
The second part, Raji.
Ra'i.
Good. So we would read it as Raji if we were not pausing. But if we would have to pause, we would read it as Badiyar.
Badia.
Raj.
Raj.
So we do make sure that we make the ya sound because there is an alif present with a sukoon before it. So we're going to make a jerk for that. Ra. And then there is ya also there with a kasra, which we will change to a sukoon if we were pausing. So we're going to make ya sakin sound as well. Ish, ra ish,
Ra'ish.
badiyar,
Badia.
ra ish,
Ra'ish.
raj.
Rush.
Good. Badiyar,
Badia.
ra ish.
Rush.
Good. We do make the ya sound, but because we're ignoring the fatha kasra dhamma, we're not going to make an a, e, or u sound. Another one would be, sorry, just a second. So again over here, we have ya with a fatha. So when we are not pausing, we would read it as at-taraqiya.
At-taraqiya.
But when we are pausing, we would change the fatha to a sukoon, and this will make it a haruf madda. At-taraqi.
At-taraqi.
Good, well done. Mashallah, very well read. Jazakumullah for your help and participation, and until next time, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. So we're going to do the next rule now, rule number 21. This is when you have a tanmeen of fatha that will change to a vertical fatha. So we have done similar rules before, like similar rule is rule number 17 and rule number 15. Whenever you have tanmeen of fatha, you change it to whenever you have fathatain or tanmeen of fatha, you change it to vertical fatha. This is the similar rule. The difference is that over here it is present on top of a vowel or another letter, and there's again an empty letter after it, a blank letter after it, but that does not really make a difference. We're going to ignore the blank letter and we're going to change the fathatain to a vertical fatha. So instead of reading it as tuwan, we would read it as tuwa if we were pausing. So ST, can I have another student, please?
Yes, our next student is A5314.
A5314, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Good.
Good, alhamdulillah, that's great. So again, what we're going to do is we are going to do some examples from here. So over here, this is the word maqdurun. If we were not pausing, we would read it as maqdurun.
Magdurun.
Good. But if we are pausing, we would change, we would ignore the fathatain, and we would read it as, actually, let's ignore this example. Let's do the different one because this would be more similar to another rule that you have done last week. So this is when you have fathatain and alif after it, we ignore the one of the fatha strokes and we read it as if there's fatha followed by alif, making it a haruf madda. So a more appropriate example would be this word over here. So we have dal with a fathatain. So, and there's a blank letter after it. So we ignore the blank letter and we change the fathatain to vertical fatha. So instead of reading it as hudan, we would read it as huda.
Huda.
Good. Again, let's do another example for this. So, I'm just trying to find more. All right, over here. So in this last line over here, we can see that there is alif with a fathatain. So instead of reading it as fathatain, we're going to change it into a vertical fatha. What
What the
So if we were not pausing, we would read it as what the un.
What the un.
Yes, we're making a jerk sound because of the kalkala sound over here for ta. What the un.
What the un.
But if we were to pause, we would read it as what the
What the
Good. So similar example, this one over here, again a blank letter, we'll ignore it. Dal with a fathatain. If we were not pausing, we would read sudan.
Sudan.
And if we were pausing, we would change the fatha then to vertical fatha. Suda.
Suda.
Good. In the last word over here, again, alif with a fatha then. So if we were not pausing, we would read it as rid'an.
Rid'an.
Good. And if we were pausing, we would change fatha then to vertical fatha. Rid'a.
Rid'a.
Well done. Very well read. Jazakumullah for your help and participation. And until next time, Allah Hafiz. All right, so let's do the last rule over here, which is rule number 22. This is that if you have haruf madda present as the last word of your so if there is the last word is a sakin letter and it makes a letter of madda or a letter of leen, no change will be made. So that means that you can see this is waw is a haruf madda, alif is a haruf madda, ya is a haruf madda. So if there's a sukoon present on waw or ya or a blank alif is present and before that is fatha kasra damma, these are the haruf madda. If that is present or haruf leen is present, we're not going to change any sound. So we're going to do some examples over here. So ST, can I have another student, please?
Yes, N6339.
And 6339.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. So have you understood everything so far?
Yes.
Good. So let's just do a few examples from this line over here. So when we know if we have haruf madda at the end of the word or if we have haruf leen at the end of the word, no change will be made. So for example, there is, if we were to continue without stopping, we would read it as wazkuru.
Wazkuru.
And if we were to stop after this word, there will be no change. We would read it in the same manner. Wazkuru.
Wazkuru.
Good. Similarly over here, ya present over here, and before that is a ba with a kasra. This makes it haruf madda. So if we were to, if we're not going to stop, we would read Rabbi.
Rabbi.
And if we were to pause, we would keep it the same. Rabbi.
Rabbi.
Again over here, haruf madda at the end. Sabili.
Sabili.
It will remain the same even if we were stopping or continuing. Again, Jallaha.
Jallaha.
Again, haruf madda at the end. It will not change if in any of the cases. If you are pausing or if you're not pausing, it will remain the same. Over here, we have haruf leen at the end of the word. So if we were continuing, we would read La ta'saw.
La ta'saw.
And if we were pausing, we would keep it the same. La ta'saw.
La ta'saw.
And let's do this one. Uzlifat.
Uslifat.
This is the rule over here, rule number 16. So if we have this long ta and whatever stroke you have above or below it, you change it to a sukoon. Uzlifat.
Uslifat.
Utilat.
Kutilat.
Well done. MashaAllah. Very well read. Jazakumullah for your help and participation. And until next
Allah
time, Allah
Hafiz.
Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. All right. So I'm going to give you your homework for today. So your homework for today is same. Just to remind yourself or to do a revision of all these 22 rules of Waqf and what is each rule, how do you pronounce every single time when you have a particular rule, and practice this exercise 21.1. Whenever you read a word, look back at the rules, which rule is it similar to, and try and practice in the same manner. Read this this explanation so you know exactly what you're supposed to do. So this is your homework for today, to go through the rules of Waqf and the exercise 22.1 again. So we're going to end our lesson with the ending prayer. ST, can I have a student, please?
Yes, N6329.
N6329, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. So, how are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah, and you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. Jazakumullah for asking. So can you read this ending prayer for me, please?
Yes. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم ارحمني بالقرآن العظيم واجعله لي إماما
Imam
إماما ونورا rahmatan.
Well done. Very well read, mashallah. And the translation as well, please.
O Allah, have mercy on me through the great Quran, and make it for me the leader, the light, the guidance, and the mercy.
Jazakumullah for your help and participation. Very well read, mashallah. And until next time, Allah Hafiz. All right, so Jazakumullah everyone for participating and attending today's class. I hope you have all learned something from today. Just keep practicing and revising the rules of Waqf, and the more you practice, the more you'll get fluent with it. And do your homework, which is the same exercise, lesson 21. Rules of Waqf, and practice exercise 21.1 again. And I hope to see you all tomorrow. Until then, Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.